I don't know about you guys, but like being in the closet is lit. We got food, we got Psychic Cave. Man, look at this shit, bruh. I don't mind staying in here. I don't need no stress of coming out. That's stressful. Like, look at it. Look at that. That's scary out there.
I just want to touch on the fact that we are consuming a credit card's worth of microplastics on average per week, but like there's no way to remove microplastics from the body. So to clarify, like we are pooping them out. There was another study that looked at newborn poop that had microplastics in it. But there's real science showing that microplastics are accumulating in major internal organs. So this study looked at lungs. This one looked at male scrota. And there's a bunch of other studies that look at other organs. So like there's no way to get them out. There's no medical procedure. So we have to look at preventing, right? Preventing ingestion. We ingest a lot of fibers through the clothes we wear. So if you can, stop wearing synthetic fibers. Bottled water has twice as many microplastics as tap, so that's also a major environmental justice issue. And really we need to stop plastic production at the source through legislation.
And just like that, poof, Lola's gone.
Wrong. Lola's right here, you fucking Brussels sprout.
A lot of people aren't grasping why Taylor Swift is catching so much heat for her private jet flights. She is not being attacked because she's a woman. She was the #1 celebrity CO2 polluter of the year. Number 2 was Floyd Mayweather. Number 3 was Jay-Z. 4 was A-Rod. And 5 was Blake Shelton. Private jets are not a necessity. Like, human life will continue to function without the existence of the economic ruling class owning a private airplane. These were preventable carbon emissions. It's just so bizarre to me to see people, like especially pop and liberal feminists, try to make Taylor Swift being under fire like a feminist issue when like anyone who owns a private airplane should be under attack. Like, you don't need a private airplane. Like, sorry, your pseudo-feminist icon Taylor Swift is rightfully under fire right now.
You would melt down to realizing I'm never gonna escape capitalism.
So much love to that creator. I feel the same way. Lots of people in our generation feel the exact same way. And if not, at some point in their life, they're going to realize they feel that way. Don't talk about my hair, but I wish that I could show this exact clip, like this truth that resonates so deeply with so many of us, to all of the older people that are like, why doesn't anybody want to work? How come you guys aren't gonna have kids? What about when you're homeowners? We're not going to have that because we can't even drink rainwater. You guys fucked up so bad. I was born in 2000, so that means from the minute I turned 1, 9/11, terrorism. When I was 8, housing crash, economy. Fix it or get fucked.
Happy Butch Appreciation Day. It makes me laugh because I was just thinking, like, when's Hallmark going to monetize today, right? When are we going to see Butch Appreciation cards and we get the official day off, like if your Butch gets the day off. But, you know, Butches, we'd still go, like, do something else, right? We'd probably be helping people or something, or just being out in the world, being visible. So that reminds me, speaking of visibility, also, like, when are they getting the flowers? Like, when can you go, like, call your local flower shop and order, like, the Butch Appreciation Day where it comes with, like, a coupon for cargo shorts? Or like a power tool battery. I don't know. Anyway, I was talking to an older butch recently and a younger butch, early 20s, a little bit older than me, maybe mid to late 50s, and Penny. And the older butch said, I keep nodding wherever I go, gas stations, Home Depot, in the grocery store, and I nodded. I don't always get a nod back. Are they not using butch? They don't understand what that is. That no. And the younger one said, sometimes we're afraid to nod back. We don't know if you're nodding to us, or if like we're misunderstanding, or we're like we've been, stranger danger. We were kind of raised with that. So keep nodding, she said, keep nodding, because eventually we're going to see that you see us, because we do see you, and seeing each other is what's important. So keep up. Older butches, keep nodding until they see it, and younger butches, we're nodding at you. It's okay. Nod back. I know it's stranger danger, but a nod, you're going to be okay. At worst, if you nod at each other, you just said kind of hi in a weird way. At best, two butches just saw each other out in the world. You see the older butch, you see the younger butch, And sometimes we are the visible safety in the room for other women, other women in the room, other lesbians in the room see that visible butch and know that someone's got their back. That's pretty cool power. That's a superpower I'm very proud of. Have a great Butch Appreciation Day. And if you have a butch in your life, show them some love.
Some guys weren't taking us girls serious.
Yeah, that'd be better. Yeah, but we don't want to play girls. I gotta play soccer.
So we made them take us serious.
Oh my God!
Right?
Push it back, push it back! That's not my eye, yo. Hey, good try. Bump him back and give him the shoot. Call the picture off. Hey, okay, please. You got the jab. Oh, baseline. Good pass. 9-7.
I got some very wonderful early morning content for you. So while I get ready for my day, this is my brief introduction for the alt-right pipeline for femmes and women. Now, why is this important, Chandler? Why do we need to talk about the alt-right pipeline's prevalence for femmes? And this is why. Because it is nefarious, and I would even argue more nefarious than most of the men's pipelines, because those pipelines are very blatant. We can all recognize them. We can all go, I see exactly what's happening there. We're going from fucking Andrew Tate talk to now we're down the rabbit hole and I got a Proud Boy subscription on the back end. But again, what the fuck does that look like for women? Because a lot of people just assume that it is non-existent for women. But you think that those men just go home to a completely blank slate of a person? No. And if they're lucky enough to even have like a woman in their lives, they're probably, not probably, almost guaranteeably trying to spout this nonsense to them as well. So what do those, and for lack of a better term, indoctrinated women then result to in their online media usage? And a couple really great creators are starting to talk about this. Stop, dude. My cat is harassing me. But what are these women starting to do online? And how is it creating like an algorithmic pipeline? And that is homestead core. And if you're like me and like a Taurus moon or whatever, and like you genuinely enjoy like, I love fucking knitting. I love pickling vegetables. I love growing shit. I'm a bitch that likes to be outside in the sun. But because of that, I get fed content. I get fed content on occasion that aligns with this. And it's more so, you know, the critical content that's like, what is this person talking about? But nobody's naming it directly, this being the femme version or the female demographic of the alt-right pipeline. And again, like I'm taking a lot of these examples from other creators just because I want to consolidate a lot of the terms that are currently being used in the content that's being created around this concern. But like you're seeing canning videos and then everybody's starting to watch these canning videos and they're starting to trend because people are like envisioning and feeling this pressure about food insecurity and shortages and supply chain breakdowns. So then you start getting these people who are more interested in a topic that they wouldn't normally be interested in, and oops, this person's demographic while they're talking about their canning recipe is actually based in alt-right ideals. So then you go from one video about canning and now you're down the rabbit hole and you're what? Talking about what? Oh yeah, you're talking about how there are microchips in a vaccine and how not to trust doctors because you can fix and solve every single ailment with your fake ass essential oils. So you see what I'm saying? There's a very clear connection and nobody's talking about it. And I want people to be aware of it. I want other women and femmes and AFABs to be aware of this shit. Because I know, not just like me, we like this shit. We're into it. It's the most slippery slope. So if you see it, call it out.
Hey, what was your name before? Before what? You know, before your name was what it is right now. Those were a lot of words and I'm very stupid. Oh, you know, just your real name, you know, in the before times. Oh, you mean the before times. You mean back before the oak ruined all with steel and thunder. What? You know, the only real before times when the moss covered all and the land was green. No, I meant like, what's your gender? Blender? No, this was before such technologies existed. I just meant like, how do you identify? I was moss once, covering the trees while the sky shone bright in the sky. When did you get an accent? I just wanted to know what was between you. Ever see the sunset, boy? Hanging off and hugging the edge of a great green cliff and knowing you're a part of the great mother? I know I'm about to go insane by the end of this conversation. Just tell me how you identify. I was the grass. I was the trees. You've told me that already, but oh my god, why are you floating? I have been all and I will be again. I'm sorry, I just wanted to know what was in your pants. I invoke the old gods of dust and shadow and I will just tell me what's in your pants. Ravage these lands. Oh, was that it? Okay, here. Yeah, here. Yes, finally, thank you. Are these animal bones?
Puff your goth GF picks you up for a date.
Oh, hang on, let me just throw this in the back. You ready?
Hello, my name is Elder Price, and I would like to share with you the most amazing book.
Hello, my name is Keith.
Can't see a damn thing, what?
You're really cute. Want to go see a movie or something? Huh?
I knew it. You wanted to ask me out.
A new show that's on Netflix called Dead End Paranormal Park, featuring a gay teenage Jewish trans boy. They meet.
Sorry guys, it's me. My bad.
Today we're doing Black Panther because a lot of you requested it. Now the plot of Black Panther is a pretty simple inheritance plot. It's basically that Black Panther needs to assume the throne. This guy, Killmonger, looks at Wakanda, looks at the monarchy and says, hey, we have all this technology, why aren't we helping other oppressed people around the world? To which T'Challa says, yeah, you have some good points, but I also am the rightful heir. They fight, it's cool, he wins, and then he goes, you know what, actually we should share our technology. Which is not what Killmonger was saying. He was saying liberate people. This film's message is ultimately pretty anti-revolutionary. It does advocate for a little bit of progressive ideas, but not really. But I'd be remiss not to talk about the fact that the CIA probably had a hand in that. This is literally the stated purpose of the CIA when it interferes with entertainment. Various government agencies have had a hand in Marvel projects before. Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and Captain America were used as military recruitment tools. Overall as propaganda, I think this is pretty good. A lot of people didn't critically analyze Killmonger's position, just saw it as an illegitimate heir, challenging a legitimate heir. I think it's really solid propaganda. I'm gonna say like an 8 out of 10.
Every time I get misgendered, I get to spray my family with water. This is me convincing my brother to get my mom to talk about me.
Flush ain't no do, and you don't stop. Shoot shot, go out to the parking lot.
Fab Five Freddy told me everybody's fly. DJ's spinning, I said my.
I'm a geologist, and this is my rating of alternative engagement rings based on whether or not I think that they're a good idea. Because we all know diamonds are a scam, and honestly, they're not even that exciting. You could be doing better. You could have a prettier rock on your finger for the rest of your life. Come on. First up is fluoride. Beautiful mineral, can have this cool thing called zoning, in which you have these bands of different colors. However, on a scale of 1 to 10 of hardness, where a diamond is a 10, fluoride sits at 4, meaning that it can chip very easily, and all these pretty little facets will just break off. Oh, and if you hit it against a glass window, it can also be scratched by the glass because it's less hard than glass. Also, this color will fade in the sun from wearing it every day for the rest of your life and going outside with it. The verdict is in, it's not a good idea. Next up is moss agate. Agate is a microcrystalline quartz, so it's like thousands of little tiny quartz crystals that all grew together with some stuff in between it. This looks less like moss and more like lake seaweed, but that's still really cool. Quartz has a hardness of 7 and it can't be scratched by glass or steel, but it can sometimes be scratched by other quartzes, so be careful with sand. Overall, it's very unique, this kind of design in there, it's very, very cool. I do think it's a good idea. Yeah. Next up, we have another quartz, amethyst. Same hardness, 7, same level of durability. However, if you're looking for this color, it's not gonna stay. If you're wearing this outside in the sun every day, this is gonna fade to clear. Unless you have like a really deep attachment to amethyst, I don't think this is a good way to get this color if you're going for that. I don't think it's a good idea. I have so many more of these, I have to do a part 2.
2 plastic Easter eggs filled with mung beans. 2 Christmas tree ornaments filled with jingle bells. 2 wads of masking tape tied together with a pink ribbon.
Alright, this series is called Accidental Ways That Men Make Women Uncomfortable. I've changed it from Accidental Ways That Men Freak Women Out because I feel like this allows us to talk about it a little bit more. I'm going to start with a disclaimer because a lot of the men in my comments on my last video really misunderstood my intention, and I'm not trying to have that happen again. So this video is for you if you genuinely want to learn more ways to make the women in your lives more comfortable. If you don't, that's fine. This isn't the video for you. Also, I'm a white woman and I understand that men of color have to deal with a ton of shit from white women. And so if you don't want to accommodate me specifically or anybody like me specifically, I totally get it. That being said, today's topic is needing a second source. There are a lot of times when women are explaining something or telling men something that they know, and the men do not take them at their word. They often feel the need to Google things or talk to one of their guy friends to get an extra confirmation before they believe the information that the woman is giving them. I think a lot of this is done completely unintentionally, and a lot of men aren't even aware of it. So if you want to reflect going forward, the next time that a woman says something to you, notice if you're immediately skeptical or if you take her at her word for it. Being conscious of whether or not you do that, because obviously not all men do that, is the first step to getting out of that habit if you are somebody who does that.
Meet me outside of my palace.
21 Pilots is music for white people whose hardest task of the day is introspection.
As someone who used to religiously listen to 21 Pilots, as you can see, and is black, this is true. I've been to 2 of their concerts, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a good time. They had a good show. But the fans... Besides the fact that I was like painfully aware that I was like the only black person there in Las Vegas at a show, I think it was like 12,000 people, and I was like the only black person there. While waiting for the concert to start, me and my friend, who's not black, we met these other girls and they were white, and we were all talking about, you know, songs, music, stuff like that, and I was talking about how I struggled with like depression and also my struggles as a black woman, and I was like totally brushed off. Also, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Tyler was basically asked to speak out about BLM because he never did, and this was the buffoonery that he posted. He even said that he's basically not going to apologize, and he thought it was funny. Thank God I decided not to get the tattoo.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming.
During graduate school, I was a teaching assistant for the art history survey class, and one of my students' favorite periods to study was surrealism, and it's one of mine as well. This book has been on my radar for a while. It's Whitney Chadwick's Women Artists and the Surrealist Movement. This book goes beyond just discussing some of the lies of the surrealist women painters that you might already be familiar with, like Kay Sage, Frida Kahlo, or Leonora Carrington, among others, and it delves into what the surrealists thought about women. Surrealism was very influenced by their studies of Freud, who obviously had a lot to say about women, as well as various mystic and hermetic traditions, combined with the period in the 1920s when women's roles were dramatically changing in politics. And if you want to get a better appreciation of women's art history or surrealists in general, this might be a book you would enjoy as well.
I've been a lot of things before, but I've never been a giant cracker.
Here are some more great pro-LGBT rock and metal bands that you should definitely check out. Firstly, we've got Hailstorm. Vocalist Lizzie Hale is openly bisexual and advocates a lot for LGBTQ rights, as well as also pushing for a lot more female representation within rock and metal. Vocally as well, she is absolutely amazing. The songs all slap, check them out. Next, heavy metal band OTEP. The vocalist OTEP is a lesbian, and has spoken a lot about being a lesbian within the metal scene and in a metal band. Solid heavy metal band, check them out. Ghost, you guys won't shut up about this band in the comments, and rightly so. I believe all the proceeds from their cover of Enter Sandman go to a trans youth charity, which helps trans and non-binary people. Which is great on its own, but considering it's from a band of their size, just the reach that has is unreal. They've also talked openly about their support for the LGBT community at gigs. Check them out. Rage Against the Machine, obviously. If you've been living under a rock, Rage Against the Machine are an incredibly great political band. Not only have they spoken about their support for LGBTQ people, they also do a lot for people of colour and other systemic issues. Very leftist band, very hard-hitting music, check them out. See You Space Cowboy, I've talked about them before, but I have to talk about them again. Fucking solid hardcore band from America. The vocalist is actually a trans woman, which you almost never see in the hardcore scene. Genuinely, their music hits so fucking hard. Check them out. Let me know in the comments who to talk about next.
Here's a list of things that I interpret as microaggressions from members of the caucus. Your favorite rapper is Eminem. That's a red flag, buddy. You love learning about history. Every time I learn more about the past, I literally get chills down my spine. Why do you like it so much, huh? You want to go back? Lastly, aggressively tanning. Why are you and your friends darker than me, Melissa? It's giving fetishization.
Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know it's nobody's fault.
Welcome to the series Superhero ACAB, where we decide whether or not your favorite superhero is actually just a glorified cop and therefore does not deserve your adoration.
These are based entirely on our opinions, so if you disagree, get in the comments.
Today we'll be looking at the first Avenger himself, Captain Steve Rogers.
AKA Captain America.
AKA America's ass.
One quick caveat before we start. For the purposes of brevity, we will only be considering Captain America from the MCU.
If you don't like that, get in the comments. While this may look like an easy case of ACAB fever, we think it's a little more complicated than that, and for that reason, we'll be ranking Captain America separately in the first 3 phases of the MCU.
Phase 1 Captain America absolutely falls under the umbrella of ACAB.
The man was born on the 4th of July in like the 1920s or 30s. If that doesn't scream, I believe in protecting the white middle-class American dream, I don't know what does.
He is 100% the kind of boomer who unironically and unapologetically refers to it as the greatest generation and throws a Karen-style tantrum in a Walmart parking lot if anyone refuses to do the same.
The most damning evidence of ACAB mania comes in the first Avengers movie. During the Battle of New York, even though he has Tony Stark on his side, who could hack every phone in the city and warn every person of the incoming alien invasion, Captain America asks a cop for help.
He is also a true image of America as the world's police, since his weapon of choice is actually a shield, wearing a mask as a global defender while using a tool of defense to bash in the skulls of those who oppose his ideals.
We rate Phase 1 MCU Captain America a cabaret, harkening back to his brief career on stage. If you disagree, get in the comments.
Tune in next time when we tackle Phase 2 MCU Captain America, aka the Deconstruction Era. Welcome back, one and all, to Superhero ACAB, the series where we ruin your movie-going experience by telling you whether or not your favorite superheroes are just cops with cosmic powers.
These are based entirely on our own opinions, so if you disagree, as Brennan Lee Mulligan would say, get in the comments.
Today we'll be continuing our series on MCU Steve Rogers, aka Captain America.
If you don't want to get too lost in the sauce, go watch our first episode on Phase 1 MCU Captain America.
In Phase 2, Captain America ends up giving up the kinds of behaviors that would consider him ACAB, but it's a bit of a rough journey for him.
Steve Rogers appears in Captain America Winter Soldier and Avengers Age of Ultron in Phase 2, but his character development proceeds almost exclusively in Winter Soldier. Age of Ultron develops other MCU characters.
If you think that Steve has substantial character development in Age of Ultron, you're wrong, but that's fine. Get in the comments. Let's define ACAB for a moment. A cop is considered ACAB when they abuse their position and authority to oppress or silence the citizens they serve.
This can come in a variety of forms, including when a cop blindly obeys their superior when ordered to do something illegal or unjust. Captain America is faced with this exact dilemma in Winter Soldier.
When S.H.I.E.L.D. is proposing a program that would eliminate threats en masse, Steve can either support the program that would execute thousands of citizens of the U.S., or stand up to the kinds of things he saw Hydra doing back in World War II.
As we all know, Captain America teams up with Sam and Natasha to defy S.H.I.E.L.D., call out the bad apples, and destroy the tools that would have been used to take the lives of innocent individuals across the country.
We're pleased to rate Phase 2 MCU Captain America counter ACAB, thanks to his efforts to expose the bad eggs within S.H.I.E.L.D. If you disagree, get in the comments.
Next time we tackle Phase 3, aka the end of Steve Rogers. Welcome back to your favorite series, Superhero ACAB, where we decide if your favorite superhero is actually just a cop in a cape and therefore does not deserve the glitz and glam of the silver screen.
Obviously, these are all based on our own opinions, so if you disagree, get in the comments.
Today we'll be finishing up our critically criticized trilogy on MCU Steve Rogers, aka Captain America.
Some of you have agreed with us, and some of you are wrong. Capping off this trilogy, we'll be analyzing Captain America in Phase 3 of the MCU, who appears in Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame.
Technically, he does have cameos in Spider-Man Homecoming and Captain Marvel, but nothing happens and it doesn't matter.
In Phase 3, Captain America continues to remain not ACAB. Or does he?
In Captain America Civil War, Steve Rogers completes his character arc, officially leaving the Avengers and turning in his badge when he gives up his shield.
By the time we see him in Avengers Infinity War, he's completely changed his identity as a superhero. He works off the grid, his suit is stripped of its American symbols, and he doesn't even call himself Captain America, introducing himself to Groot with, "I am Steve Rogers."
Then we come to Avengers Endgame, where Steve Rogers has rejoined the Avengers, goes back in time, beats up the ACAB version of himself, and wields Mjolnir. That last part isn't important as to whether or not he's ACAB, but the first time that I saw that in theaters, a little bit of pee came out.
So far, Cap has been firmly not ACAB. But at the very end of Endgame, he makes the decision to retire and go back to the 1940s, and presumably do nothing to help anyone ever again. So that's not exactly ACAB, but not great.
We're in a bit of a conundrum here. Right now, we rank Phase 3 MCU Captain America, go back in time and kill your ACAB grandpa paradox level of ACAB. But if you disagree, get in the comments.
While you're there, feel free to give us any other superheroes you'd like us to cover. Till next time, this has been Superhero ACAB.